A teenager was decapitated by a roller coaster after jumping some fences and entering a restricted area at the Six Flags Over Georgia, located in Austell, Georgia. The horrific accident occurred back in June 2008 on the Batman ride. Witnesses say 17-year-old Asia LaShawn Ferguson lost his hat while riding the Batman roller coaster. Ferguson and a friend then climbed 2 6-foot fences and passed multiple signs saying the restricted area was off-limits and dangerous to visitors. According to the park's website, the Batman ride has a top speed of 50 miles per hour, and the roller coaster was going at full speed when it struck Ferguson, killing him instantly. The other teen who was with him was not injured, and no one riding the roller coaster was hurt either. However, it's unknown whether any of them required lengthy counseling after the gruesome accident. If you're looking for a thrill in the Philippines, there's no better choice than Star City. The amusement park operates the Star Flyer, the only roller coaster in the country where riders travel upside down. But Star City is famous for another distinction. It's the location of a possible suicide by roller coaster. You'll find Star City here, just south of the capital of Manila. According to witnesses, a 39-year-old man asked an operator what would happen if he fell off the ride. The operator didn't think much of the man's question, but investigators suspect the victim wiggled free of the Star Flyer safety harness. The Star Flyer has 2 inversions. Was he thrown to his death? The man struck the ride's metal framing before falling to the ground. When the Star Flyer pulled into the station, the safety harness was still in the locked position. Following the death, Pasay City engineers cleared Star City, saying no mechanical problems were found. But the man's sisters said their brother didn't have any problems and wasn't suicidal. Does the adrenaline junkie and you want a fix? Then you need some time on the Ride of Steel. Ride of Steel, operated by Darien Lake Amusement Park, is one of the tallest roller coasters east of the Mississippi River. However, on July 9, 2011, something went horribly wrong when the ride sent a legless Iraq veteran flying. Darien Lake Amusement Park is located just outside of Buffalo, New York. The attraction is a popular destination for locals, including 29-year-old Sergeant James Hackamer, who was visiting with his family. Hackamer had lost his left leg and most of his right one, as well as part of his hip in an IED explosion while serving in Iraq. Due to his disabilities, Hackamer and family asked the park staff which rides would be safe for him, with one of the workers reportedly telling them they're all fine. So, that being the case, Hackamer took on the Ride of Steel with his nephew Ashton, who assisted him onto the coaster. When the ride hit about 50 miles per hour, Ashton noticed the roller coaster's safety harness wasn't able to secure his uncle properly. And just as he was about to help Hackamer, the force and speed of the ride ejected the vet out of his seat and to his death. A very sad ending for a guy who survived a war. Investigators ruled out mechanical failure, as both the safety harness and restraining bar were working. The Darien Lake Theme Park website says Ride of Steel passengers must be 54 inches or taller. But without his legs, Hackamer was only about 3 feet tall. The roller coaster and surrounding area were closed after the accident for further investigation. The ride reopened 2 weeks later, with the local Department of Labor deciding that operator error was responsible for the death of Sergeant Hackamer. The park's general manager said during a press conference that they have expanded existing training to include recertification and increased disability awareness. Meanwhile, the accident hasn't deterred thrill seekers, as to this day there are still impressively long lines of people waiting happily for their turn on the Ride of Steel. Tragedy struck at an amusement park in China when a space-themed ride designed to simulate a rocket launch took thrill seekers on a fatal trip. The Space Journey ride was housed under an 80-meter diameter dome and had only been open for just over a year. But sometimes Made in China happens, and it happened big time on one fateful day in the summer of 2010. 6 people died and 10 others were injured in the high-speed accident at the overseas Chinese Town East Resort in the southern city of Shenzhen. More than 40 passengers were on board, looking forward to an intergalactic extravaganza of spinning, bobbing, and acceleration, twice that of gravity. But things quickly spun out of control when a structural fault caused one of the cabins to disconnect from the ride. The dislocated cabin smashed into several other cars at maximum warp speed as it failed to resist the pull of gravity. Some witnesses said passengers fell upside down from the cabins to their deaths. Others spoke of hearing a big bang, smelling burning, then losing consciousness. An investigation later found that a loose screw was to blame. Made in China? You can say that again. In 2012, 8 people were given jail terms ranging from 18 months to 5 years after they were convicted of violating safety codes that led to the accident. The ride has never reopened. Sadly, however, for 6 unfortunate passengers, space truly was their final frontier, and a ride on the space journey was the last they would ever make. Opened in the mid-90s and closed in 2010, Loudoun Castle was one of Scotland's few theme parks. It operated 5 roller coasters, including the Rat. In July 2007, a 17-year-old worker reportedly fell some 50 feet to his death during a freak accident while operating that ride in Ayrshire on the western coast of Scotland. Mark Blackwood was operating the ride for the first time when something went wrong and one of the carriages stopped moving. He wasn't sure what to do, so he asked a colleague. She said she didn't know, but explained that based on what she'd seen before, he should just push it. And so Mark, who suffered from mild cerebral palsy, did just that. He made his way onto the Rat and began pushing the cart. But as he started pushing, he reportedly tripped, just as the cart began its ascent. Mark clung for his life, but despite his best efforts to hang on, he was thrown to his death as the cart sped toward a bend in the track. The 17-year-old fell some 50 feet and passed away hours later at a local hospital.